The honest truth is it's hard when you have a boss. You can use vulnerability as a positive tool efficiently, and I think I've learned it very well, if I'm just being very honest. The hard thing is I have a boss, and my bosses are my LPs, the investors in my fund. My bosses are, their bosses. And you very much feel that. I feel that, for sure. And why most often the best interviews are people with no bosses, because you're completely, uninhibited. So am I totally vulnerable? Probably there's 10% that's not. What is one of my biggest fears? I have fears of Macaulay Culkin.
Home Alone.
With respect to him, I'm sure he's doing something, but people go, oh, where's he now? And that's my biggest fear, though, which is like, I'll be that.
I saw some interviews with him recently. My argument is he seems to be very happy. It was, I
didn't want to pick on him, but you know what?
No, but I'm actually glad you did bring it up, because from what I've seen, he seems to be a happy person and a self-aware person. And I don't know him. I can't speak to that, but I can tell you there's a lot of people who are known who I can't say that about. And my other argument to you is, do you really have a boss? Or are you putting that expectation on yourself that they wouldn't support you if you told them the truth of your fears?
I think I also don't feel financially safe enough. I think the honest truth is...
But that's what I'm saying. It's not, let me rephrase that. Because you don't feel financially safe enough, you don't trust them to support you if you were completely honest with your fears.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to say to you, that I get that completely, and I still work through that. I'm not a pro at that yet. My fears and insecurities come if I share this, or I don't know the answer, and if I'm not defensive in this moment. I completely get that. I think what we should both work towards is getting to a place that...
Do you not worry with people that you work with that if you are too vulnerable, you'll be like, God, please, I'm listening.
By the way, I have LPs in TQ.
You have LPs in TQ?
I have LPs in TQ. I have clients who work for me. I'm on the board of Hybe. I'm one of the largest shareholders, but we're a publicly traded company with a market cap that was at 14 billion, and between 8 billion and 14 billion, depending on where the market is. And I'm the CEO of this company, and I have bosses.
And you don't worry?
No, not anymore. And what it's funny, the things I worry about aren't them. It's when the worry comes in, it's my own shame. I'm now realizing the worry isn't their expectation, because at the end of the day, I'm on my journey, they're on their journey. I start to put this fear that if I present myself a certain way, if I'm not defensive, if I'm not doing the right thing at the right time, who's going to support me? And I think what we're all working towards is getting to a place where we choose ourselves enough. I think there's a big lie. I want to say this because I don't want to come across selfish. When I say choose ourselves, this was the lie that was told to me. And it wasn't like on purpose. I think all our parents and people in our lives do the best thing you can. Every kid interprets life a different way. But the lie that came to me was, one, that I wasn't enough, and two, that if I chose myself, that I was being selfish. And now I realize that when I'm actually choosing myself, that's when my friends love me the most. Because I'm not a selfish person. I'm fun and generous, and so are you. I could already see it. Like most people are. That when they're actually truly themselves and truly happy, everyone around them wants to be near them even more. And your LPs would want to be here even more, because they'd want to figure out, how did you get to that place? Because you're obviously a smart guy. You're going to get to the deals. Your vulnerability is what's getting you to so many people. And that's why they're investing in you. It's not that they are scaring you. It's that you don't trust them to see you fully, because I don't know. And I'm only saying this because I deal with this myself. It's because maybe we don't trust them to see us fully because we haven't accepted ourselves fully.
Sure.
And we use an excuse by saying, oh, it's them, but it's truly us not truly loving ourselves or trusting ourselves.
It took me years to give up drinking, because I said, well, I look at my biggest deals is because I went drinking with them, and I used it as this crutch to keep on going for myself. And actually it wasn't that at all. Do you know what I mean?
Well, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
And we're going to flip the podcast a little bit. 5 years from now,
yeah,
your LPs can't be mad about what you say. I know some of your LPs, some of your biggest ones. These are good people. Really good people. They're not betting on it with 23, 24?
When I started?
How old are you now?
25.
Okay, 25. They're not betting on a 25-year-old guy just because he's smart. They're betting on you because they want to see you win, because there's a lot of smart people much older than you that they get a return on capital.
Yep.
They're betting on you because they like you and they want to see you win. That's the truth. That's the part you're missing. They're betting on you because of who you are, not necessarily what you've achieved. Because there's a lot of other people who are much more seasoned they can give the same amount of money to.
Mm-hmm.
5 years from now, if you didn't have that burden that you actually are putting on yourself of thinking that you're not enough, or if I told the truth, what do you want your life to look like if you didn't have to answer to anyone?
Personal or professional?
Both. Harmonize.
I love what I do. I love this. This is what gives me huge, huge joy. And kind of speaking of the harmonization, I believe that one of the next great firms will be built with media at the very center of it, and leverage media to find, to pick, to help the best companies in the world. And I want to build that. And I don't view them as one or the other. The biggest question that everyone asks me is, how do you split your time between venture and media? It's the same thing. It is the same thing. And I love that. And I want to keep doing that. And I want to keep having conversations like this where I am uninhibited, and we've got this schedule which I'm really, I'll still stay to it all.
We'll go to it all, and then you just decide what you want to keep.
Sure. But like, I love that. And then I think there's the recognition at the same time that I really love kids. And I'm desperately alone, bluntly. And you turn off the lights at night and you're suddenly, the silence is very loud. Do you know what I mean?
Are you nervous that if you sought that out or took time to have kids, or that right now is your time to build this?
Yeah. I definitely feel the momentum is transient. I don't know if you kind of see this, but it's
no, I think we all, and you all the great entrepreneurs
hitting.
I think what I always find funny, I do not want to preach to you in this moment, because I think when I was coming up, all these great entrepreneurs would see me and they'd say all these things that they wish they did differently. And I'd say, well, you have the freedom to tell me this now because you were a fucking animal coming up, making the same sacrifices I'm making. So I understand your sacrifice right now, and I appreciate it. And I think you're at an age where you can make that sacrifice and really dedicate yourself to building something, because I think that's what it takes.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate that. What I will tell you is you never know what's going to show up for you. And the one mistake I have seen people make is that they turned away really good things for their personal life because, one, like me, I always thought it would be there. Or they thought, I don't deserve this right now because I haven't achieved enough to have it. And if you find someone who really loves you, they're not going to care about what you achieve. They're going to love you for your essence. And they're going to be happy to take that ride with you. And I think if it shows up, just pay attention to that. I think that for far too long, even when I found love and like had children, it wasn't until recently that I became present. I think that I was so afraid of tomorrow being taken away. You talked about the fear of the future. I was so desperately afraid. And I think that had a lot to do with Holocaust trauma, being told the stories of like our life was okay. And then one day they came and took it all away. And I grew up with those stories. And I think that trauma was in me. And I just thought, well, I'm building this and it's significant. And people are saying, well, good job. It's going to get taken away. I got to keep building it bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And I was so afraid of it being broken tomorrow that I wasn't paying attention to what I had right now.
And it's this hard balancing act between the ambition and ferocity required to build with the appreciation of what you have today.
I agree. But you know what? I had all the warning signs to make me pay attention. I didn't. And then one day, sometimes you got to step on the rake and get in the face for you to pay attention. That's what happened to me. And I know that my life is going to be wonderful moving forward. And I had to go through transitional years of pain. But the other thing I realized as I read books and talked to really impressive people, everyone's had these transitional years of pain.